Hi, everybody. So today we're on a new computer because the other one was so naughty with the sound. So Kelley and I are going to talk about a lot of different things today, and I'm very excited because we're going to talk about the eclipse, dragons, all the good stuff. But really quickly, first, I just want to say that the ETs were very grateful and very impressed by all of the tree hugging that went on. And the reason that we did that was to raise the frequency. So ETs are vibrating faster than we are. And in order to see them, we need to rise as well. And they'll come down a little bit, but it's kind of hard on them. So it's not really fair to expect them to come all the way down. So basically what we're doing is raising the frequency of the whole collective, not just us. So that went really well. Anyway, we're going to talk about the moon today.
Yes,
Kelley,
eclipse.
how are you?
I'm doing okay. I hugged my tree in a 12-inch snowstorm.
Ah, that's crazy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
we had a
I
big
I
snowstorm.
shook a lot of the snow off the branches that were weighing it was a really tall uh um uh pine tree that is like one of the guardians of my yard.
Oh, I love that. We don't have any trees except for little tiny trees here. So I just did the thing where I'm just imagining. We were going to go to the park, but then it snowed like crazy. So we didn't drive to town. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I told everybody to hug a tree and then did not hug a tree.
Yeah, it felt really good. And the
Yeah.
other night the moon rose and I was on my outdoor porch and I was watching the moon and it was rising almost like to be an angel on top of that fir tree, like right over the top of the fir tree.
Oh,
The moon was
wow.
rising just right there. It was beautiful. Yes, it's been incredibly beautiful.
Yeah, I feel like we're in such an amazing time right now, and everything in the sky is getting more intense. And I want to talk a little bit about the moon and what it actually is.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
So basically, I always thought that it was a luminary, but then we had a second moon. So the second moon was actually like a spaceship. So if you watch the
Oh,
movie Moonfall, the second moon is kind of really described in that. So let me see if I can share a screen. But the second moon is like basically think of Star Wars and think of the Death Star because that's what it is. It was basically a Death Star and it came from the Anunnaki. It was their spaceship. So if you watch this movie, which I will not claim that the acting is good and that you will love the movie, but it really discloses so much. So this is the movie. It's called Moonfall, and Halle Berry's in it. I think she's the main like attraction in the movie.
yeah, it's a 007 movie.
Yeah. No,
No?
no, I don't think so. It's
Oh,
the acting's really bad in the movie,
oh.
but I think there is a 007 movie with a very similar name.
Yes, it was a similar name. That's why I'm confusing it.
Yeah. So basically, it describes the moon as a spaceship. But
Oh,
what we've been in is like a Truman Show type setup. And so we had a luminary as well. And a luminary is a big light bulb. So we've had this big light bulb of plasma in the sky. And the energy that we're feeling has to do with Mother Earth and
huh.
our communication with Mother Earth. And I think that was a psyop too. refocus us away from Earth.
So, so if that's an artificial thing like that, when we see the moon sometimes during the day in the sky, and it's almost as if we can sort of see through it and see the blue sky behind it. What is that?
That's the luminary. I think it's actually very thin.
Uh-huh.
So just like a
Uh,
light bulb when the lights, I mean, when it's bright out, like you can't, it doesn't really do that much for you, you know? It's the same thing.
yeah.
Um, and a lot of people, I think that song Paper Moon came to mind this morning. And I was like, yeah, because it's really thin. I feel like
Oh,
it's really
yeah.
thin. So nobody ever has seen the dark side of the moon. Like so many things about the moon make no sense scientifically. So
Yeah, that it's always has one side facing the earth. Even as the earth is moving, the moon just shows us that one face.
yeah.
And that's Pluto and Pluto's moon Chiron, they are always facing each other the same way, and they're going around together like they're in a dance. So that's an interesting, that moon system is more like the Earth moon system than any other planet, Pluto's moon Chiron.
Yeah. And I wonder if that's not real either.
And that moon is half the size of Pluto, so it's almost like a double planet. Ours is quite a bit smaller
Yeah.
than Earth. I mean, as far as we know, as an astrologer, I'm having to rethink quite a lot of, what astrology is about. And, the interpretations seem to work, but there's some different dimensions coming in. I write new moon and full moon newsletters on my Substack, starlady.substack.com. And here's, I just got my newsletter out last night at like 11 o'clock my time. And then I went out to watch the moon. And so I was describing, something about what an eclipse is and the phenomenon of it. And I wrote, the moon is a satellite of Earth in a monthly rhythm with biological and emotional effects. It reflects the Earth. During a lunar eclipse, that reflection is interrupted, because the sun is supposedly throwing the shadow of the Earth across the face of the moon.
Mm-hmm.
So that reflection is interrupted, allowing automatic patterns to be likewise interrupted, because the moon holds these automatic patterns, like it's like the 90% subconscious operating system that we're usually running until we wake up from a deeper place in our soul. And so this is an opportunity for that kind of something else to come in. And the something else had a lot to do with that soul dimension, kind of like having like a flashpoint and coming in and bringing something in that's very earth related, very organic, nature related. So if you went to hug a tree, that was a helpful thing, for your own self and your own like kind of like connection and your own body, subtle senses getting more alive and informing us.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree with that. It's the trees have been very underutilized and they have big souls, a lot of them.
Very
And
cool.
they used to
Mm.
be huge. So, and I think they're going to get bigger again because I think we're going to have a lot more oxygen here.
Good.
Yeah. So that's going to be
Yeah.
really good. I notice I breathe different. Sometimes I forget to breathe for a long time.
Yeah.
And then all of a
Yeah.
sudden you're like, you take this big breath. And other
Yeah.
people have mentioned that too. And I was like, what is going on with my body? And it's part of the upgrade, I think.
Well, the deep breathing from the belly and allowing that whole full breath to
Mhm.
fill you is really important. And we often breathe in a more shallow way. So just remembering to breathe all the way from below, is
Yeah.
really, really healthy, and also helps bring us more into that that like say instinctual intelligence, they call it the gut level intelligence, and also our hearts. So we're not just as much in our heads. So the deep breathing helps us with our grounding really a lot. Mm.
Yeah. I can't remember exactly what was said in this video that I just watched, but they talked about the lungs were actually moving a lot more of the blood. So that action actually moves a lot more of the blood around the body. So I don't know. I'd have to look into that again, but definitely look into that if you guys want
Mm.
to. I'd love to hear about it in the comments. But so tell us what you're thinking about the stuff that's happening with something happened today, right? On the 24th.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, some hours ago. Now it was that partial eclipse. It was a partial eclipse. There are different kinds of eclipses based on um the positioning of the nodes of the moon, which is where the path of the moon crosses the path of the sun, and then we're aligned, Earth, moon, sun are aligned in a way we can see an eclipse. And the so eclipses are based on what we call the positions of the nodes of the moon, which are also called the dragon head and the dragon tail. And we talked in a previous video a little bit about that. So there's where the moon is heading northward of the sun's path, and that's the north node, the dragon head. And on the other side of the sky, the moon is going southward, and they're always opposite each other. And so this eclipse we had last night was called a penumbral eclipse, which means the moon barely gets a glancing eclipse effect. We don't really even see anything. I was watching it at supposedly the peak, and there's no bite taken out of the moon. So that it's not obvious, it's very subtle, but still effective. And so I was looking and I was seeing maybe some very subtle effects, but it might have been the window pane. So I can't say for sure. But that it is, so we're seeing, so in this graphic, you see these little like horseshoes toward the top and toward the bottom, and those are the nodes of the moon. And also notice how compact the planetary roster is. They've been gathering together closer and closer, all the planets we tend to use in astrology.
Oh yeah.
Since the new year opened, they've been getting closer and closer and focusing in certain signs. So this eclipse is focused, there are 4 planets in Pisces. So if you're a Pisces, you're really, really, feeling a lot of energy. And also because this is our collective, kind of pattern at the moment, there's a really increased sensitivity. And it's really important with Pisces. Pisces tends to be like a sponge that soaks vibrations in. So be careful who you're around, and this is one of the big lessons right now, because the planet Saturn, that's about, okay, everybody, here's what you're learning about right now, is about kind of being aware of where our energy field ends and somebody else's begins, being really clear about our energetic shape. So we're more, I don't know how we want to say it, like, in a bubble, it really just aware of our shape so we don't leak out and we don't take on too much that is not ours.
So we're in our own aura, keeping our own energy.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
yes. And then there's a lot of planets in the sign of Aries, the sign right after, that's about being, it's a fire sign. It's about being, I'm standing my ground. I am in my center. I am who I am, and that's the leading edge of
Yeah.
our collective consciousness right now. This Aries energy, being really clear with yourself and not leaning out or accommodating other people or situations. And that is one of the biggest lessons of this eclipse. The the south node, the dragon tail.
Mhm.
So what's behind the dragon? It's the dragon's behind, it's like what's behind us is part of what this eclipse is bringing our attention to. And that's where, the patterns, got cut or clipped by this eclipse. And so it's be aware of where you're accommodating or leaning out of your own center. We just can't always be so nice. It's like, wait a minute, this is not working for me. And that can be hard for a lot of people. It can be hard for the people who are born in the 70s and have this the planet Pluto in the sign of Libra. So that's a whole generational group of people. And let's see if I can get this right. So that would have been yeah, right around certainly the 70s and into the 80s a bit of this claiming your power and not accommodating other people or getting out of balance. This is like, there you are with somebody. Let's put our cards on the table. Where are you at? Where am I at? Let's deal. It's like, it's,
I think that's massive.
yes, it is.
Yeah. And that was my generation, and people pleasing was so huge.
Well, I'm the older generation, and we had the planet Neptune in Libra, which is also the tendency to accommodate other people and to, have expectations or imagine what you think who you think the other person is. And, our generation was like about finding soulmates, but not really understanding what that meant. And then, and then you think you found your soulmate and they think somebody else is their soulmate. So it's like very disillusioning. Your
Yeah.
relationship with yourself is the strongest one, is the primary one, let us say.
It's the most important. And I think we're getting that at this point. People are. And if they're avoiding it and still looking outside for love and
Yeah.
acceptance, then they're suffering right now. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Getting that's a disillusionment, and it can feel like a betrayal as well. And it's, you
it
know,
does.
but that can be a soulmate thing. The soulmate's going to show up and not be who you think they are. And so that's part of the wake up and part of their gift to you. It's not always, a sweet and, sugary relationship. The soulmate is very deep and potent and it reminds you of who you really are.
Yeah, yeah. There,
So we're
it's
we're sorting through our relationships right now to see which ones kind of raise us up and which ones are dragging us down.
mhm. I shared like 2 or 3 memes like that this morning on Telegram, which is so good that that's what we're actually going through. I'm finding that synchronicity is like all over right now. It's just
Yes,
constantly going on. So,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
so
Now
good.
that's shown in the astrology by what's going on with the North Node or the dragon head. And if you're riding a dragon, you want to be on the head. You don't want to be on the tail. So the dragon head is the focus of the upcoming solar eclipse. And so that's a north node eclipse rather than a south node eclipse, which refers to the past, but also does invite in the harmonious energies. If we're sorting through, if we're working with this Libra balance, we can sort out what is in our favor, what is more beautiful, what feels best. And then the North Node, the dragon head, is in Aries. There it is. I'm standing my ground. I'm hugging that tree. I'm really feeling deep into my own roots. I'm feeling more clear about who I am, and I am stepping forward. And that is the collective destiny right now, is that, I love the word that we're all using these days, sovereignty, and being here I am, I'm doing my thing, I'm finding my path, I'm exploring my own new territory. And I'm sure as I do that, I will find other people on that path, but I have to walk my path. And so we're all, that's the collective. And what's so the dragon head, that collective destiny moving forward is aligned right now with Chiron, this odd little body in the solar system that is named for the centaur, the half horse, half man.
Mhm.
If you saw that movie, Percy and the Olympians, it was the Pierce Brosnan character, who was the professor in the chair with in the wheelchair because in fact he couldn't he was a horse on the bottom. So it's a half man, half horse, but also it's a shamanic energy. It's a a bridge of consciousness taking us, and that's what this object in the sky does. It comes closer than Saturn, which is a manifestation factor, brings it into reality, and then it'll go out to higher consciousness and pick up new energy. And this can be in Aries, highly original energy. And so a lot of people born in, we're back to the 70s again, are have Chiron in Aries. And so if you're turning 50, you're having a Chiron return where it comes back around, and it's like a critical moment of aligning the spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical. And it's the be here now factor, synchronicity strikes again. And so it really is, it's the leading edge of collective consciousness right now, this evoking of synchronicity, because we're being truly ourselves in our vibe, and we're vibing with all of the others that are doing that same thing.
So beautiful right now. I've
Mm.
noticed everything, even though we're going through kind of a rough, like intense amount of energy, we're still doing really well. And people are kind of like, they're popping, is the word that comes in. Like they're getting their own information,
Yes.
they're uncovering things, and they're starting to do a lot of the things that maybe only a few people could do in the past.
Yeah. This is waking up. This is changing. Aries rules the brain, the head. So this is waking up new neural pathways. It's like our synapses are like popping, are like, turning on. And so this is part of what you've been talking about with people, remembering talents, bringing in their gifts. This is waking all of that up. And the scary thing for some people is, because you have to have a lot of courage to walk on a new path.
Yeah.
Um, so it's a little scary, but you got to do it. The bridge is burned behind us. You've got to move on. And if you're compromising, you're going to be a bit lost because you've lost yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And so that can be very difficult. We need to be moving on to new ways of being, and we'll find our companions along the way. It's like, when in the US history, if any of it is true, that the wagon trains going west. I mean, it took a lot of guts to do that.
Yeah.
The pioneering is don't know what you're going to face. You have to have that light with you. You have to be really in alignment and follow your heart. So
Mm-hmm.
there and whatever other guidance is coming your way. And that's why we need to um use the potential of this eclipse that is clipping off old patterns so we can move forward freshly and freely. And so that's the challenge of this eclipse, which is a full moon eclipse. So for the next 2 weeks, we're working it out, working it out, working it out. And then we have the April 8th solar eclipse, which is a new moon. So it's a new cycle, and it's more than just a normal new cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah. we're riding the dragon for sure. And we're preparing in every moment. If you can be, Chiron is about be here now. So it's about really aligning your energy and being fully present. So you're not thinking ahead or remembering or getting off track, that your whole energy alignment, your holistic alignment is really present. And then you can meet each moment in such a new and fresh way without a lot of baggage or old ideas. And we need that right now, don't we? Where we're heading.
We really do, because I kind of see the eclipse as a doorway.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're going into something new, and that could happen like around the eclipse. Like, I don't think
Yes.
it's okay to just say it's one day. I know you don't do that either, but a lot of people are saying this day is the day. And
Well, it opens the door. That doesn't mean we've
yeah,
walked through it yet, you know?
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I think it's a beautiful symbol of what's coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's Chiron. Well, we'll talk about this maybe closer to the eclipse, but Chiron is exactly, precisely aligned with the eclipse. And it's going to be, this is like paradigm shift. This
Yeah.
is like, Chiron is like we're on a bridge and we're not where we were and we're not yet where we're going. And we need to be really aware of each footstep we take across the bridge. And that is from this eclipse to that new eclipse and beyond,
Mhm.
because every step we take has implications as to where we will end up.
Yeah. Yeah. It feels so like shockingly amazing right now as far as the energy goes.
Uh-huh.
Like, you can spend one day just like in joy and happiness, and the next day you're like, oh, I feel terrible, you know? So we're really riding a roller coaster right now. So just be
Mm-hmm.
really careful with your body. If you're not feeling well,
Yeah.
you're purging something out, or you're so the symptoms of talking to the ETs is nausea, something like a hot flash. It's really funny because somebody in the comments said, "Oh, so talking to the ETs is like menopause," and kind of dizziness. So one of those three things is usually meaning the ETs are trying to talk to you. So
How
kind of
about when,
keep that in mind.
how about when, like when you can hear energy. You can hear energy. It's like a kind of
Vibrating.
energetic halo and you're picking up on things.
I think that's it too. It's like you're getting tuned. So you're tuning right then. You're raising your vibration. You're also jumping through multiple parallels. So,
Yeah, Chiron is definitely a timeline shifter.
yeah.
So that might be really interesting, whatever's going on that day and whatever you are doing, whatever, experience you choose or start out with, and then, kind of see how your day unfolds, what comes to you, because this is Aries energy. It's like impulsive,
Yeah.
and let's
Mental.
just have informed impulse.
Mhm. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have a friend who's an Aries, and the intensity of something
Mm.
having to happen in that moment is so massive. And I would just kind of give up. I'd be like, fine, let's just go do it. Whatever it is, get it over with. Since you need it so badly, you know. And it was kind of really interesting because my sign and the Aries sign don't all, they are either like great friends or they're just like, I just can't do it, you know.
Yeah, signs that are like 90 degrees apart from each other are called squares, and they activate each other. It's a dynamic activation. So
Mhm.
something's happening here. Aries just wants to go for it. and other signs want to plan out, want to clean the kitchen first, or whatever.
Yeah, that was me. Well, what about this? We need to go do this first. No, and this person was much younger, like I could be their mother. So it was very intense, like
Um,
teenager, let's, can we?
some Aries just have to beat their head against the wall until they learn that, they have to, look at what you're jumping into before you jump, if possible. But
Just
yeah,
such an interesting contrast,
yeah.
Yeah, fun. So, is there anything else we should know, you think, for the next couple of weeks?
Well, people have been asking me like, what's going to happen? And I don't even want to try to guess, because if we're in as fully present as possible each moment, being vigilant about the choices we're making, then we're going to have a great eclipse experience. We're just going to be able to walk through that door. So just be really present from now until then, and that we're looking too far ahead, even 2 weeks. I mean, not to say that, you can, if you want to make a plan, make a plan. Plans don't always work out how we think, and we are going to have Mercury retrograde, which can be a bit of a trickster for our benefit.
Yeah.
So think twice. But that's what I say. Just be fully present in the moment, live the richness of this moment, and we'll get there before we know it. Yeah.
Oh, we so will. And nobody's experienced this before. Like,
Yes,
this is
exactly.
humanity's time to shine. So enjoy every moment. Yeah, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, that's the thing, what you said, we're on a roller coaster, and our mood can change quite fast. And so that's the thing right now, right? Keep your vibe as high as possible. Keep keep that light radiating and shining. And if you drop down, like, pick yourself up. Nobody else can do that for you.
Yeah. And if you realize that you are like something's coming up that maybe needs to be cleared, if you're feeling miserable, maybe you have something to clear out. So do it, basically.
And don't push yourself. If you need
Yeah.
to rest. All those Pisces planets are like, okay, I just need time to like chill, take a bath, or, have a nap, and do a little dream time, and just,
Yes.
yeah.
Journal.
Be
Just
kind to
relax.
yourself. Be kind to
Yeah.
yourself.
Be
Yeah.
kind. That is the main thing. You are your main project right now.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I love that. Thank you, Kelley. This was wonderful.
Oh, thank you.
And
Yeah.
I'm excited to see you soon. So we will get together again soon, and probably right before the eclipse.
Yeah, let's do that. That
Yeah.
sounds good. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Brilliant.
Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you,
Take
Kelley.
care.
And check out Kelley's links right below. Okay. Thank you. Bye.